Hello. Am I too loud, too quiet, just right? Just right. Too loud? Too loud? I don't know. Okay, welcome to the Middle Women Project. We are really excited to have everybody here. My name's Adrian. I'm the president of the Middle Women Club on campus and one of the directors of the research department for the Middle Women organization.
I'm Sarah. I'm event manager for the club. Sorry, I don't know what my title is. And for the organization, I'm the program manager for mental health.
I'm Emily. I'm an event manager too for the club, and I'm also a read editor for the Middle Women organization.
So just really quickly, the people who are tabling at the resources, thank you. If you would like to come sit in the audience, please do. You don't have to state your tables. We would love for you to be up here if you want to. So in the middle of the pieces, we're having an intermission and we're going to do a question and answer session. So you can either write a question on a sheet of paper and we'll collect them and answer them, or you can tweet hashtag MW Project, right? That's a tweet? Okay. Or the hashtag, I don't do Twitter. But you can tweet a question and then we will do our best to answer all of those. And then at the end, after all the pieces are done, we'll also be doing another question and answer type section.
Yeah. Hi, sorry, I'm just going to push them over. So we just want to let everybody know that this is a safe space, and we would like everybody to respect our speakers. They are being very honest and open, and we really appreciate that about them, so we hope that you do too. So during the performances, we are asking for positive affirmations from them. Snaps are always good to let them know that you agree with what they're saying. A nice hand rub if the snap is too much and you can't snap, or if it's just ongoing, everything that they're saying you're feeling. If you're really feeling it and you want to totally good. We love that positive affirmation. Along with respecting the speakers will be here after the performances, and you're more than welcome to come up and talk to them. We would ask all of you guys to ask them before touching them. So just respect all around. This is a safe space.
Okay. One last thing is that, can I have the Middle Women organization and club people raise their hand?
Or stand up.
Or stand
Just
up.
Stand up.
Cool.
Over there, all over here.
Okay. Sweet. So what we want is that this is a safe space. So if anything is triggering for you, which it may, just know that if you do have a problem or anything, these people are really safe to talk to. So if you need anything, you can come and get them, or if you leave and if they follow you, then that's why. Is that it? I think that's it.
Yes. So to start off our evening, we have the founder and executive director of Middle Women, Rebecca Rivero.
Hi, everyone. So I didn't exactly plan a speech because I knew I was going to be so overwhelmed with all of you being here. But I just wanted to let you all know. So I wanted to know from all of you, how many of you had heard about Middle Women before you saw the posters for this event? Wow, okay. And how many of you have been following it since near the beginning when we started about 2 years ago? Oh, it's crazy. Okay, so kind of why I didn't prepare a speech is because I knew that I was going to be really overwhelmed by how many of you have been following this project since I thought about it 2 years and 1 week ago today. It started as just a fairly simple idea that I could potentially produce content and work with people to try and promote positive body image and cultivating self-esteem in my community. And so then I started the Tumblr. So how many of you followed the Tumblr? Hi. Means you've probably seen me naked at some point. So we're already friends. So it's all good. And so we launched the Tumblr with the idea that we would start producing photo shoots that were going to be unphotoshopped images, particularly of women, but then we had some very supportive men, and we started kind of broadening what we thought we could do. And that's kind of what's been happening for the last 2 years. And one of the reasons why this is such a big deal for me right now, because it really just started as an idea, and it started as a pretty good idea, I think. And I texted one of my friends, hi, and I thought, well, why don't we just produce a photo shoot of me? Just one photo shoot of me. I will be nude, we won't Photoshop it, we'll show all the beautiful stretch marks and the marks and everything. We'll just show it all off. And we'll just see what people think. We'll put it up on Tumblr and we'll see what people think, and we'll see if we can get any of the young women that I had been working with on Tumblr who had the inspiration blogs to look at something different. And within a few days, we had several photographers and a lot of models. We launched the Tumblr a couple days later, and it just keeps growing from then. I'm staring right at you because you're the one who, hi. Yes. So that was 2 years ago, and since then we've launched the website. So how many of you have been to the website? Great, thank you. The website, the Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, thank you. My boyfriend has been to all of them, apparently. And so I really just wanted to try and push as much as we possibly can this idea of, positive body image. You can see a lot of the pictures up around the room. Some of them are hanging out back there. And I think that we've been doing a pretty good job about that. And I think that what's the most challenging thing for me right now is to wrap my head around the fact that the idea has gotten so big that I'm just not the only person who's holding on to it anymore. And I just started as a young woman who wanted to have control over some part of her life. And I wanted to have a more healthy control over some part of my life. When I was 16, I turned to challenging myself to eat as little as I possibly could as a means of controlling some aspect of my life. And as some of you may know, that doesn't go over super well in the long run. So this project and this passion that I have now is really a way for me to start getting what I need out of having control, because I don't feel like I've had it for most of my life. But now I can do it in a more positive way, and it's very exciting to me that some of you all believe in that too and have started getting involved. And we're both really excited to say that there are so many opportunities for more people to get involved, and we're hoping, I just met someone that is sitting, I can't see you, that also wants to intern, so if the rest of you want to too, that's great. We think that a lot of industries these days are profiting off of a lot of people feeling bad about themselves, and we're trying to add value to people feeling really good about themselves. So right now we're working on things like the Etsy. So if any of you want to do like positive body image or any sort of positive affirming messages on any form of art, we'd love to sell it for you, make you some money, because we really think that there's an undervalue of like social work and nonprofit work, and we just don't agree. We think that it could be huge. We think that people should be able to live comfortably, making people's lives better. So if any of you want to get involved, we'd love to have you. I'm going to continue trying to expand my mind enough to grasp the fact that you're all here, and you wouldn't be here if I hadn't sent that text to Kayla on April 11th, 2012. I wish we'd saved it. I don't know what happened to it, but it said something along the lines of, hey, I have an idea. I had no idea. But the fact that people keep coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, you're Rebecca Rivero. I saw you online. Oh, okay. Hi. There's a reason I started an organization that was primarily based online. I have a lot of social anxiety. I love talking to people, but at the same time, I'm sitting up here shaking right now. The people over at the Women's Center gave me a little horse to hold on to that I could thank you, so that I could feel a little bit better. Thank you. I'm trying really hard. Do any of you ever have those days? You're just trying really hard. Well, good. See, I'm not alone in that at all. And I'm just so excited that there are other people here tonight who are going to share their stories too, because that's exactly what we're trying to do, is just make it so that people can share their stories, because we're not alone. We're going through this all together, and I hope that you all know that. So I'm going to get off the stage and go sit down, but we'll just stay up here forever. No, you can do this too. If I can stand up here, you can be up here too. They're all very nice. They're like nodding and smiling, clapping and snapping. You're doing a great job. Okay, who's next? Oh, well, come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire. I'm just gonna jump in. This is called This I Believe. I believe that many will find this to be shallow, a surface level issue that hardly needs to be tackled and is but a tiny speck in the spectrum of the world's issues, but I believe it is one that needs to be addressed. I believe that we all judge each other on the way we look, whether we want to or not. I believe that we do so because we have been societally conditioned to. Oh, this I believe. I believe much of society thinks I wear makeup and short skirts because the very same system judging me has told me that this will please potential partners. But I believe I do so because I just want you all to see me. I believe in self-expression through clothes, hair, makeup, and body adornment as much as I believe that employee dress codes are a form of discrimination. Oh, this I believe. And I believe, and I know that I did not choose this face, this body. Instead, a series of DNA and a Punnett square chose it for me. And I believe that for you to see me, myself, my personhood, that I must take agency over my face and my body and decorate it as I please, for you to see me. Oh, this I believe. I believe I dress for myself, not for the attention, positive or negative, of those whom I'm attempting to attract. For I believe that if I adorn myself as a true expression of who I am, the attraction will flow effortlessly. For I believe that if one can truly be themselves and free to express that sense of personhood, that energy draws in others and more true relationships can be formed. I believe in self-expression through body adornment, and I believe that I chose this outlet on my own and never base it off of what society thinks. Oh, this I believe. Thanks, guys.
At age 6, in 1998, I tried to kill myself for the first time. In 2008, age 16, I spent 3 months in a psychiatric ward for a nearly successful suicide attempt. I lost 42 days of memory due to the drug Ativan. In December 2011, I had a psychotic break, the major onset of my mental illness. In January 2012, I had a depression more agonizing than any I had ever experienced. That March, I tried to jump off a bridge and then in front of a train. After this, I wasn't necessarily the one who came to put a name to my identity. It was a doctor who told me. I had bipolar 1 with ultra-rapid cycling and heavy psychotic features, the hardest to treat. As strange as it might sound, it was one of the most empowering moments for me. It gave me a name, a real-world explanation to the pain I had felt all my life. It gave me a way to understand why I constantly spiraled up and down, sliced up my arms, starved myself, felt more isolated than loved, tried to kill myself more times than I care to admit. And though I still do some of this, knowing what my problem is and that I could get even a little bit better and that what I was experiencing was real is probably what saved me. Though history will always repeat itself, I will never be fully healed, I will never be normal. Understanding my brain and feelings has given me the tools to cope with the harshness of the world in ways I am still realizing every day. In fact, this is the first spring in 6 years I haven't attempted suicide. This is its own victory for me. Learning I do not have to cope in socially acceptable ways, such as affirmations, therapy that attempts a certain goal of being healed according to a self-help industry standard, and other fucked up capitalist bullshit that doesn't work for me and many people, has empowered me to live how I see fit for myself. I do not have to label myself a survivor of my rape and childhood sexual abuse, and I reject the majority consensus that I should. I simply don't feel empowered about it, and that's okay. I have community, I have friends who love me, and a few who understand me completely. My own choices of how to live, how to heal, and the understanding I get from many people is so I see the manifested potential for a kinder, more gentle world. I am passionate about being with my community of activists, doing what we can to usher in a reality that is better than one we currently experience. I see all these things as being connected: feminism, anarchism, unconditional compassion, understanding mental and physical health needs. I want the world to be better, not only for those of us who have atypical brains, but for all who suffer from the effects of global capitalism, the culture of fear and violence, the social desire to throw away people deemed undesirable, and the emotional toxicity of living on our planet at this time. One of my mentors, a fabulously radical women's studies professor, once told me, "If you haven't gotten shit, you haven't done shit." Having unpopular beliefs is empowering when you have community, because the struggle is always worth the outcome. Though I know many evils of oppression won't go away during my lifetime, if I can alleviate suffering in the world one bit, I will have accomplished something with my life.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jason Fernandez. I used to work here at Western. So I've got two pieces for you right now. And yeah, so the first one came actually from my experience working here and interviewing a student. He sits in my office, nerves ready to speak in the language of interview. He's subject of brief study, me critical observer. We discuss gender, violence, and relationships, and here's the thing. He fucking nails it. Floors me with his understanding of feminism and masculinity as social constructs. He's got a wealth of personality, or a wealth of personal experience, and honestly, it would be hard to find a better applicant. But for some reason, he still carries tension like Atlas in his shoulders. He says, "So there's something I gotta tell you. I'm not sure if you know this, but I'm gay, and I don't know if that will affect..." I cut him off there. "Stop. That will never be a problem." Relief flows fluidly to his face. He gives a little thanks, and reluctantly I take it, because this man is owed apologies, not your welcomes. To this day, I find my response insufficient. I can't help but feel that the perfect way to end the sentence that day would have been with, "I'm sorry." I'm sorry that too many men speak bigotry fluently. The way we roll gendered slurs off our tongues so bluntly is disgusting. Using people's love interests like napalm to burn them on the daily, and in the same breath, is also the way that we all too often choose to say something or someone is stupid. Get a clue, kid. I told my student where the word faggot comes from, and what he's really saying when he's calling his friend from across the hallway. Seeing histories of hatred caught up in what he sees as a friendly greeting caused him to say, "Jason, holy crap, I'm sorry, that's awful. Don't apologize to me." I should have said I'm sorry. Too many men speak ignorance with their fists. Too many men speak ignorance with their fists. Our violence doesn't stop at the gnashing of our teeth, but continuing to the pummeling of skin, and that's just where the physical stuff begins. If we teach young boys that Smear the Queer is a game to play with your friends, we teach them to make warfare with disastrous ends. Remember this: 1 in 6 have been a victim of a hate crime. It's like we're trying to beat the human out of you. But most of all, I'm sorry. That people, a lot of the times it's men, have made him feel unqualified to speak up about manhood, about what his experience is. Yeah, I should have said I'm sorry, but I didn't. Because like my father taught me, sorry means changes are to follow, and things aren't too different yet. But I'm working on it, and I'll apologize when our job is done. Thanks. So this next one came out of a cool conversation with her. Are you okay? Love you. So this next one came out of a conversation with Rebecca about consent. And I was like, oh God, I teach about consent. How am I going to make it a poem? And I did. So here it is. I can't tell you how badly I wish there was a manual for this. A roadmap to dictate how I should be acting and where to place my next step. I couldn't tell you what movie was on. I couldn't tell you what dress she was wearing because I easily forget, but what I know is we were electric, all neon humming signs, we were sweaty palms and tied tongues nervous, stammering idle conversation filling the buzzing space between us. Our knees meet. The butterflies in my gut start eating all of my best lines. All I have left to say is this okay? She throws me one of her patented half smiles and nods, and I can't help but think, dude, really? That's the best you could do? My hand falls to her knee. Oh, these are stuck together. And I think, okay, Jason, let's be smoother this time, but my tongue stammers again, is this okay? Dude, what are you doing? This is not in your game plan. You are crashing so hard right now. Stop saying the same stupid thing. Just when I think I've sunk the ship, the words, it's totally fine. And a smile forms on those beautiful lips. Now, I might be imagining this, but I'm pretty sure she scooted closer. You see, this isn't a dance I was taught. My talk consisted of three major things. Son, if you're going to be interested in girls, you got to know three things. You got to know how to dance, how to put on cologne, remember moderation, and you need to know how to do flowers. And that about sums it up. And I've gotten good at most of these things, but it's sad to me now that none of my education, formal or informal, included absolutely zero training on consent, what it is and how to ask for it, and I don't think I'm the only one in this room. Unfortunately, there is no IKEA manual doled out at puberty that states if you wish to insert peg P, F, or T, or any other fun things you might have stashed in your home into slots V, A, or M, then it is imperative that you have C, verbal and emphatic C, C being consent, and maybe some loose, but more importantly, consent. Why else do you think it's called consensual sex? It's sexy to ask questions. There's nothing sexier than giving a damn about your partner's wants, likes, and needs. It's unfortunate how we teach people that confidence is sexy. Walk into a bedroom like you own it. Know what you want and go get it. It's true. Confidence can be totally sexy, but the kind of confidence that comes with wood. You like it if I kissed you there, touched you here, darling, tell me what you need. I'm dying to feed this electricity sitting between you and me. We could do something really cool, like make out and stuff. Honestly, who knows where tonight is going, and I really don't care, so long as you say yes to us going there. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Abuse, the definition of my childhood. I grew up in a place where every day I'd wake up sick wondering if today would be like yesterday. I grew up in a place where I was controlled by a sexual abuser. I grew up in a place where the adults were always so high on drugs they never noticed my baby brother falling down a flight of stairs. I grew up in a place where I was so torn apart on a daily basis and I used food as my comfort. I grew up in a place where my self-confidence was so awful that to graduate high school, let alone middle school, seemed like the impossible. Then I grew up. I grew out of the abuse and the sexual abuse. I grew out of the mind that said, you can't do it, but you can do it. I grew out of my dysfunctional family. I grew out of bad self-confidence. I became me. I conquered those voices in my head telling me that I'm worthless. I graduated high school and was the first in my family to go to a university. I learned that food and exercise is my friend, not my enemy. I learned that there is good in the world, and I learned that love is love. Then I started changing and setting goals. I volunteered for the American Cancer Society for the past 4 years, and I've raised over $11,000. That's $10,000 past my life goal. I decided to love my body, and I lost 102 pounds by eating food that nourished me. I decided to go to a university and do the impossible. I made honor roll the first 3 quarters. I decided to travel and meet the good in the world and love the good. I decided to join another volunteer group that raises money for children who need organ transplants, and the 2 people in charge actually changed my life. They showed me that what truly changing the world is. I decided to run a 5K race. 3 months later, I ran a half marathon, and 3 months past that, I ran a full marathon. And my goal was to do that by the time I was 30, so I'm 10 years ahead of that goal too. I became a survivor, I became a lover, and I did the impossible. I became me.
Well, first, can we just have another great big round of applause for the first half of our speakers? Thank you guys so much. That was really inspiring for me, as always. You guys just touch my heart with how open and honest you are. Thank you. And I'm really excited to hear what everybody else is going to say. So this is our break. Our bake sale is still open. Again, it's give what you can, take what you want. It's all donations. So also questions. Yes. We're working on that.
What exactly is a fierce conversation?
Oh, well, fierce conversations are my life, people. As program manager of mental health, that is what I do. So a fierce conversation is a step above an honest conversation. Fierce conversations can be with yourself, with your friends, with a family member, really anybody close to you. A fierce conversation is that one conversation you've been waiting to have. The one thing you're so afraid to talk about. You don't want to tell your mom that when you were 13, she did something and it hurt you so deeply. Because you can't tell her, because it will tear her apart. Your mother's going to cry, and so you can't tell her that you are hurting. That it's 10 years later, and you still think about it. Well, I'm saying you need to have that conversation. I've had as many fierce conversations as I could possibly take in a lifetime, and I'm still going. Rebecca is still going. It's so hard. I like to tell people, you're going to cry. Get over it. You're going to cry. I'm a crier. It's how I really show that self-expression of I'm feeling it and I'm bawling. My partner will tell you I've had them with him, and I'm just a mess. But he tells me I'm beautiful, so it's good. So it is for growth. You're afraid of these conversations. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be one of the hardest things you've ever done, even if it's just with yourself. But it's something that needs to happen. You fear what's going to happen, but you need to stop putting words into other people's brains, into their mouths. What you think they're going to say isn't what they're going to say. It's going to help build your relationships, and you're going to feel a lot better afterwards. So I challenge every one of you guys. Go home and have that fierce conversation. It's scary. Yeah. And we would love for you guys to tell us about it. Write in, be one of our contributors. Tell us everything that you had to lay out on the table. Tell us how it went. We would love to hear. If you don't want to post it, you might just want to contact Middle Women and talk to one of us. We just really encourage it. It's for your health, I promise.
I don't know, we can, yeah.
If someone is interested in getting involved in Middle Women, what sorts of things do we offer, or how would they do
So much.
That's a really big question.
Okay. Well, okay, so to start off, we have internships and everything that you could ever want. We have a sign-up sheet over there. So if you guys are interested in anything, we have it. We need a lot of people to really do this. So, what? Oh, yeah. Also, we have so Middle Women Club of Western, we meet Wednesdays at 6. 4 now. Sorry, guys. That was last quarter. So 4 o'clock. And
Thomas, he's the HR director.
Yeah. Yeah, but we also meet in Miller Hall 113 at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays.
All of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm just sorry to butt up here.
It's all good.
I just wanted to say like what kind of job opportunities we have. So we have like a basic circle of content production, where that's like YouTube. Emily runs the read page, where we're looking for people to write in, and there's a couple other places, but content production is a big part of who we are and what we do because it draws people in. And then we have needs for people that are going to manage the web pages that we have. So there's 4 basic ones, but we're thinking about adding more. And then so on those platforms, we're going to be promoting events. So we need people that would be helping to plan the events, and then I forgot to mention like photo shoots. So and then at the events, we're eventually going to be having things like the beautiful pictures you see on the tables over there. Where Etsy, we have an Etsy shop and a production manager that would work with interns to build stuff. In addition to that, we have like researchers who like go online and like Google stuff. And we use that in our content production sites. So if you're interested in any of those things, let us know. Oh yeah, anyways, there you go.
Well, I'm
Also, we're all really awkward people, so if you feel like you're awkward, that's okay. Especially if you want to do events, like,
what we're doing.
we're really awkward. If you feel like you could do this better, please come to us. We would love it. I'm shaking. You can hear it in my voice. This is so awkward. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Are there any questions that anybody has? No. No? Are we good? Okay. Cool. Yeah. Let's take a break. Yeah. Awesome. And then we'll like reconvene. What do you
Go
think?
ahead,
Like
get up, get snacks, stretch,
chill.
go to
Yeah.
the bathroom.
Thank you guys.
And it is on Thursday, May 1st at 7 o'clock in VU 565. And it's awesome. If you haven't been to Unbound before, I highly recommend it.
Okay, so it looks like everybody's back. So I guess this is starting the next part. So everybody be prepared for some more very fabulous and honest people. Awesome. Hey everybody, my name is Maya. I'm a life consultant and an inspirational writer. And I was really excited that somebody asked about fierce conversations, because we do all need to have them, and I'm about to have one with you, so you're going to experience it. My whole talk is about vulnerability, and I am feeling very vulnerable right now because I've been dealing with social anxiety and overcoming that social anxiety, and the fact that my brain works differently than most other people's. I have Asperger's, and I actually didn't know that for the first 25 years of my life. So that was really hard. But you know what? It was really exciting when I figured out that I had Asperger's, because all of a sudden it was like, whoa, like I've been going at a steep incline, like this has been my life trajectory, and that's why it was harder for me, and certain things that I didn't understand, and now like having that understanding for myself, it completely changed the way that I saw other people's world struggle too. I was like, okay, somebody else maybe has something else that they're dealing with that they don't understand, and they don't have a word for it, and that sucks, like when we don't have a word for it, because we're just like, oh, if I don't have a word for it, it must not exist. And that's not true. If you're feeling it, it's real for you. And that's awesome, because you're alive and you're feeling things, and a lot of times we're feeling things that make us feel vulnerable, and I want to share something with you. Vulnerability is not synonymous with weakness. It's really not. And I think that that's one of the hardest things too, because it's like, oh man, like if I'm feeling so vulnerable, like everybody must see it on me, it must be so real, everybody's judging me. And if they are, that's okay. But you can move through that, you know, and there's joy in that too. There's joy in vulnerability and opening up and letting somebody see you and letting somebody understand you and going through and saying, you know what, like I'm holding this radical space and I'm saying, hi everybody, I have Asperger's. And some people think that it's really comforting to come back and be like, oh my gosh, you don't even seem like you have Asperger's. That's not a compliment. And also because I do, and that's okay too, and it's cool. It's cool to have whatever you have, and it's cool to not have whatever it is that you have, and it's cool to get up and ramble because you forgot what you were gonna say. But also, the story that I really want to share is after college, I didn't have a resource like Middle Women, and I dealt with a lot of things on my own because I was worried about presenting a weak front to my family, a weak front to my sorority. Like, you know, I wanted to be pretty, I wanted to have good grades, I wanted to get a good job, I wanted to do all of the things on the outside that made sense, and I didn't want to talk about my eating disorder, and I didn't want to talk about my depression, I didn't want to talk about anything that made me feel small or made me feel less than, and I kept everybody out. And you know, on the outside, it might have looked fine, but where it got me after I graduated and I didn't have the validation of good grades was to a complete emotional breakdown. And finally, I went and I saw a therapist, and she was like, okay, Heather, like, you really need to talk about like how you're feeling and what's going on, and I want you to start this was so funny to me at the time. It's kind of funny to me now. She was like, Heather, you need to tell people how you feel. No, not gonna happen. One, because I really didn't know how I feel, because I'd been trying to not feel anything for such a long time. But, you know, she's like, especially in trigger moments. So what she wanted me to do was, when someone upset me, when someone made me feel small, and like, you know, all of these things, that I would do an I emote kind of thing, where I'd be like, Mom, when you tell me, like, about what I'm wearing, like, it makes me feel uncomfortable, or bestie, like, when you, like, ask me something, like, that made me feel, like, ashamed. Like, I don't want to say that I'm angry, like, then they got the best of me, like, I don't want to do this. And I finally told my therapist, look, I'm not going to do it. Life is like Battleship. You don't tell someone when they hit your ship. And she was like, whoa. She was like, Heather, she's like, do you really feel like life is like Battleship? Like, I kind of do, actually, because I feel like it should just be like blank face, or like if somebody like throws something out there and they like hit you, you're just like, E4. And, you know, it was like, you will never know if you hurt me. But so we talked about it, and she made some valid points, and she's like, you know, Heather, most people probably aren't trying to hurt you. And if they do say something that triggers you and it hurts you, and you don't tell them that it hurt you, they won't know how to not hurt you. And that was huge. Like, oh, maybe I'm in this educational space. Like, maybe this is my opportunity to say, like, it's time to have a fierce conversation. Listen, okay? Like, I have body image issues, or, you know, I don't like when you talk about your weight in front of me because it's something that I'm going through. Or, you know, we can talk about that, but, like, I don't weigh myself, or I don't count calories, or, you know, somebody that I know is dealing with this, or we don't make rape jokes, or, you know, whatever it is. And we have to be comfortable saying, you know, and it's that kind of thing that has brought us all here, right? Like, maybe we've all been hit. You know, like, we all have. If you're here, you have something that brought you here. And that's courageous. And that's really exciting. And the other word that I wanted to share with you is courage, and what that means. And courage means to tell your whole story with your whole heart. You know, not just part of it, you know, not just the pretty part, not just, you know, the part that is exciting, or the part that makes you look good. Because, you know, standing up here, it's like, oh, like, Heather, like, you have a life consulting business, and you've written 4 books, and, you know, you have a cute boyfriend, and it's like, those things, thank you. Those things are great, but when I really think about the defining parts of my life, they're harder to talk about, you know, and they're unsettling to some people, and they don't want to hear about suicide attempts, and they don't want to hear about depression or drug use. And that's the part that I want to tell you about, because you have to have contrast in order to fully appreciate where someone is coming from and who they are. And so if I can encourage you all to do one thing, it's to tell your whole story with your whole heart, because people can only love you to the extent that they know you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lily, and like the MCs, I am also awkward. So, yeah, awkward. So I'm going to try really hard not to fall over. That's going to be the goal. But I just kind of want to share my views with you guys. I like to think, I like to process things. Some find it annoying, some find it funny, some find it just like, what are you saying? But luckily I've written it down. So, yeah, this is what I have for you guys. The other night, I was at a bonfire with a few of my friends from high school. We were laughing while catching up on the latest gossip that was happening in each other's lives. One of them, having recently got done with midterms, pronounced, "I literally raped that test." As some of you can imagine, I was completely bothered by the lack of sensitivity in that moment. However, it got me thinking and re-examining the language that forms rape culture and other social injustices. I would like to quote my friend Crystal, who puts it so elegantly. Instead of me having to explain why I don't like rape jokes, how about you explain why you find them funny? But really, why do we find rape jokes so funny? What in the world is funny about a woman being forced into a sexual encounter she didn't want? What is funny about 1 in 6 women being rape survivors? What is funny about 15% of those rape survivors being under the age of 12? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why do we allow it to be acceptable, though? Let's look at our culture for a moment. Does anyone remember that song, Blurred Lines, by Robin Thicke? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, Robin Thicke. Sorry, guys. To quote, "Okay, now he was so close, tried to domesticate you, but you're an animal. Baby, it's in your nature. Just let me liberate you." What the fuck, Robin Thicke? Like, what the actual fuck are you saying right now? Okay. We are basically telling people that it's okay to force women into doing things they don't want to do. However, we justify it by blaming it on women and their nature. In the video game Grand Theft Auto 5, the main characters in the game go to strip clubs. Here at the clubs, the character gains more points by touching the women characters when the bouncer is not looking. Don't think this is harming? Yeah. Let's consider this statistic. The average 8 to 10-year-old spends about 8 hours per day in front of a screen. As society, we are failing our boys. We are telling them that it's okay to look at a woman as a piece of meat, and in turn, the women should look at themselves like that as well. Yeah, snaps. Looking at women who are in the sex industry, many are referred to as prostitutes. I challenge this thought process. This woman is not a prostitute, not in the least. She did not choose to sell her body for her pimp. She was forced into these conditions. She is not a prostitute. She is a woman who has been prostituted. As a society, we need to tell her that her position is not her fault and that we do not blame her for the cruel way her customer treats her. We need to change our language when dealing with all of the above. We need to stop blaming women for something they have no control over. We need to stop telling men it's okay to rape women. We need to teach men not to rape women. We need to understand that no means no and silence is not an acceptance letter. We need to tell boys that their pride does not come from de-virginitizing, beating, or mistreating women. There is hope. The hope is in the change and changing in the language. First of all, this is not merely a women's issue. It is an issue involving both men and women. Secondly, look at a person as an individual. Every time you step to judge, stop and think why. Why am I saying this? Remember that people deserve to be treated like people, not objects. This is as simple as asking them what is going on in their life. Personify, relate. Have a conversation with that person. Thirdly, remember that the person who is experiencing the problem is more than likely there because it is not their fault. Finally, we need to adopt consent culture. The power of consent could ultimately demolish the power we give to rape culture. Imagine if we taught people that permission included asking and not assuming. But most of all, sitting here in this room, I challenge all of you to go forth and kick some social justice ass. Yeah, that's what we need.
So my name is Thomas. I am the HR director at Middleman. And you are people who came to this event. And I really want to help you to understand how much of an effect you have on the people around you. So if you could, for a moment, imagine yourself as a drop of water in this very bottle. And everyone else in this room is the other water drops and your friends on Facebook, and there's a lot of people all here. And realize that each drop of water has an effect on all the other waters. Now, I know this because I know about physics and how water works, and you guys are very similar. Water, it mingles around itself. It's a great quality. But have any of you ever had an experience where someone felt like it was their responsibility to spread their bad day? They had a frown, now it's your turn. Welcome to the Red Locker. And just a few words of negativity can turn your whole community into what is essentially pea water. Unpalatable. Now, my grandfather was a narcissist. I know this because the way he acted and that he didn't want to admit that he was a narcissist. Narcissism is a funny thing. It's the need for the perception of perfection without the knowledge of how to attain it. He went home every day and yelled at my mom and her siblings, and he did that because he was afraid. He ended up stripping them of their power, their joy, and their control because he was afraid that he was going to lose those things himself. Which is why okay, so in yourself, there's a saying as it goes that there are two wolves. All right, has anyone heard that? No? I'll tell you, okay, so those of you who didn't nod your head. There's two wolves inside of you. One represents everything that's good, like, good stuff. The one that's bad represents things that are bad, like jealousy, greed, anger. And they're at war in your body all the time. And the one who wins is the one that you feed. Which is why I am such a fan of appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry is the act of asking questions about those things that make you feel good, that work for you. And let's see here. Yes. I see a world that's not motivated by fear. I think fear is a huge proponent for a lot of the dangers that we have in society. I don't blame my grandfather for the things that he did because he was afraid, and he didn't have anyone to teach him not to be afraid anymore. And if we can work on finding those things that we find that we like, there's going to be a lot more room for them because we're feeding them. And I think that positivity is another thing that, just like negativity, in some ways, can affect your whole world. And just a few drops, a few words of something positive can change your pea water into eco green water. And that's something that I want to challenge all of you to do, is to think about what things are going well in my life. What things are working out for me? And go home or sit here or whatever and add a drop of positivity into your bucket and know the effect that you have on those around you. Thank you.
Thank you. I was like doing really well on stage earlier, and now I'm nervous, and it's a lot harder to stand in these, so bear with me. Okay, so, I actually wasn't planning on speaking tonight until last Friday when something happened, but before I tell you my story, let me give you a little background about myself. Like most of us, when I was young, I was influenced by the media on what I should look like and how much I should weigh. I was on swim team all throughout high school, and naturally, if you put 90 girls together in swimsuits, there's going to be a lot of negativity and a lot of comparison. And it makes me really sad how much of an effect that the media has on how we feel about ourselves, and it's really hard not to fall into that trap no matter how much you know about it. I joined the Middle Women team my freshman year, and last year I joined the Body Empowerment Peer Health Educator Group. My experiences from these groups have taught me about positive body image, self-esteem, and a whole lot about weight. I learned and thoroughly agree with the concept that your weight is just a number and your health is defined in a lot of other ways, like your blood pressure or how much sleep you get. Something else to realize that I just want to point out is that even though I work for Middle Women, it doesn't mean that I don't still struggle with anything that we try to fix, or help with, sorry, I don't know. And I think I can speak for the team here that we work for Middle Women because it's something that we wish we had when we were going through those issues as well. So, last Friday I went to the health center because I have a cough. Sorry if I've been bothering you with my cough the whole night. Last Friday I stood on the scale for the first time in months, and last Friday I found out that I weigh 7 more pounds than I thought I did. Everyone has an idea in their head of how much they weigh. Usually mine is tucked into the back of my head because it's just not something I think about very much. But I was standing on that scale expecting to see 125, and I saw 132, and I fell into the trap. Internally, I started to panic, and I was like, where did 7 pounds come from? I don't get it. Like, I don't weigh 132, but I do. And then I was like, I need to work out more, I need to eat healthier, and the list goes on. I went home that day, and it was still on my mind. And then I got really frustrated with myself because I do all this stuff for Middle Women. I talk to pretty much everybody about weight. And just 2 days before, I'd given a lecture about health at every size, which is the idea that your health is defined not by your weight at all. And here I was, angry at a mysterious 7 pounds that appeared. So over the past week, I regrouped, and I wanted to stay focused with what I believe about weight, and this is what I came up with. I am 132 pounds of passion. I am 132 pounds of wanting to help others, help them succeed, and help them grow. I am 132 pounds of someone who loves food, especially my mom's lasagna and my dad's flank steak. Hi, Mom and Dad. I am 132 pounds of a health educator in an amazing cohort surrounded by supportive and kind people. Hello. And I am 132 pounds of empowerment that I hope to share with every single person in this room tonight. No matter what the weight, what the height, what the shape of your curves or lack thereof, you have something else special to share. Something else that defines you. Something else that makes you unique, worthy, and strong. It's easy to fall into the trap of weight. It really is. But what you can take away from falling is that when you get back up, you start to realize so many other things about yourself that you might not have focused on at first. So put the scale away, focus on what makes you feel good, happy, and healthy, and don't let that number make you feel any less than you should. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Anna. According to my grandmother, when I was about 4 years old, I refused to eat cheese meant for 4-year-olds. I would scoff at pre-sliced American and ask in my most eloquent voice for what I referred to as black cheese, by which I meant Tillamook extra sharp white aged cheddar. And my grandma would giggle and cut me a couple slices, and I would toddle along my way. From a very young age, I knew what I wanted and knew what I liked and wasn't afraid to ask for it. I said something wrong one day on a Wednesday afternoon and sat that day in religion class and read my workbook and had a class discussion about abstinence. And Mrs. Thayer asked our class to recap reasons to wait until marriage, and I said, "'Cause my parents would kill me." And she said that wasn't reason enough, what with pregnancy and STDs and ruining my marriage prospects. I lost my virginity on a Wednesday morning in my senior year of high school. Don't tell my mom, she doesn't know. Or my dad, or my very, very German grandfather who promised me my dream wedding if I remain, and I quote, "a good girl." I lost my virginity on a Wednesday morning in my senior year of high school and sat that day in English class and read James Joyce and had a class discussion about innocence. And I was pretty sure I'd just lost mine, so I turned kind of red and sank in my seat a little bit and talked just enough to make it seem that everything was normal. To coin a phrase that I usually loathe, since that day I've been a lock with a handful of keys, and I have loved some of those keys rather desperately. But I sometimes think back to that day in English and think that I did not lose my innocence in a high school boy's bedroom. I sat listlessly in class and said I wouldn't sin because it would dishonor my mother and father. I sat listlessly that day in class and thought that I had technically, according to the rules, committed adultery by having sex with someone other than my future husband. It didn't work out, spoiler alert. But when did what I want cease to be an acknowledged factor? When did the little girl become a not-so-little girl and stop asking for the grown-up cheese? I would call myself a feminist because I believe that I, as a woman, should be regarded as an equal member of society. Thank you. Without getting into gender pay gaps or the glass ceiling or, I don't know, slut-shaming, it is evident to me that not everyone in the world agrees with this. Thank you. Bear with me. I knew this was going to happen. Please. Thanks, Curtis. Here we are. This is important. I am not, as a woman, regarded as the master of my being, of my body. My parents are, the government is, my theoretical future husband is. Sexual education, as I have experienced it in schools, regards me as a vessel for reproduction and the male orgasm, and I'm not down with that. My body is my temple. Oh, come, you may adore me. I am a goddess, and if you worship, I can bring you to your knees. And they can keep their walk of shame. I am a one-woman, just got laid parade. But who am I to love myself? Who am I to be empowered? Why can I even ask those questions? And where do I go from here? I don't have answers. I only have questions, and they keep coming and coming and compounding and confounding. All I know is that at some point I became a passenger. But I am clawing my way back into the driver's seat, and I'm taking my cheese with me.
So I met Rebecca on Facebook. It's nice to meet you in person. This has never happened before. You're witnessing it. I live in Alaska. I got off a plane like 2.5 hours ago, and I made it here in 1 hour and 34 minutes without breaking the law. I'm so proud of myself. But anyway, if you've never seen me before, it's not you, it's me. I don't know. We never really talked about exactly what I was going to do, so I'm just going to do my thing and throw stuff at me if you want. Manner of speaking. Well, I live in Juneau, Alaska, and I actually am a facility coordinator at an emergency shelter and soup kitchen. And so I deal with a lot of the stuff we've been talking about tonight from a different perspective of standing behind a counter and not really being able to do anything about it. The realm of my power really only encompasses asking people to leave. And I can give them a phone number on their way out, but I'm like, people will be getting in physical altercations right in front of me, and I can't really actually physically interject. But it's something that I've had to come to terms with previous to this job in my own life as a survivor of sexual abuse as a kid and as an adolescent and as a young woman. And I have actually started to really like find solace in developing relationships with these women who come in. People come in with, you know, their same partner or their friend, the same abusers, or people with whom they're having, you know, kind of equally engaging with each other day after day, and really be able to start conversations. Because at first I was just, you know, this really young-looking face behind the counter with, you know, like making soup, and nobody really cared. But I don't know, I personally, as a songwriter, I found a lot of inspiration in that also, in watching people go through their own journeys and start to realize that somebody really just wants to talk about it, and that I'm not going to make them come to book club. You know, I'm not going to like clock how many hours they spend talking to me about it, because like I'm making soup, I don't have time to write it down, but if you want to come in here and chop vegetables, we can talk about it. And that's how I healed. That's how I started healing, was chopping vegetables and talking to somebody about it. And then it, you know, I mean, carrots, they're very cathartic vegetables. Make nice little round, it's very satisfying to cut into pieces. But and then songwriting also came into it for me through those talks, really hearing my own voice and hearing other people's voices coming back to me. And at first I felt like maybe this is just an echo, maybe I'm just hearing what I want to get out of this, and then it really actually turned into something substantial that I could dwell in and really use as a space for healing. And songwriting became that for me. So now I get on planes and randomly show up at my Facebook friends' events with my guitar. I'm super lucky, my life is incredible today. I didn't get in a car accident, my dog made it here in one piece, it's been a really good one across the board. I was like feeding her in the parking lot out there, and people were looking at me like I was crazy. But anyway, so I decided, I guess, in the car on the way up here in my 1 hour and 34 minute drive, that I wanted to play this song for you all. This song I wrote and never played in public. And then I was doing a public radio fundraiser a couple of years ago. And I had the person who I first talked to, the person who helped me name what happened to me, who gave me a word for it, who like looked me in the eye and says, I'm acknowledging that something happened, and like, this is what we're gonna call it, so you can talk about it, and not just be like, I don't really want to talk about being 15. And she was sitting in the front row, and she just kind of looked at me, and I changed my set list, and I played it in public for the first time, and it was broadcast on the radio across Alaska. And I actually got a couple like Facebook messages from girls I'd never met before, and people came up to me afterwards and just, it wasn't even a like, thank you for, you know, like I didn't fix anything, but thank you for saying it, I guess. You know, so many of us don't have a word for it. So this is mine, I guess. I'm going to do this with one microphone somehow. It's okay, it's been a magical day. It's going to work. Empty people wrapped in yesterday's clothes. Pretty woman You still got glitter on your nose, empty bottles, crashing out the time, telling us that we're alright. If you can hear them, you'll be fine. And I don't know if when you laid me down, you meant to tear me apart. And I don't know if I am broken or I was like this at the start. And I don't know if it's a tattoo, I don't know if it's a scar. But there's a handprint on my heart. I called the doctor, I asked him, can you help me please? He said, you're crazy, a little time is all you need. I said, please listen, I ain't seen in color in a week, and I can't get up off my knees. It hurts me every time I breathe, and I don't know if when you laid me down, you meant to tear me apart. And I don't know if I've been broken or I was like this at the start. And I don't know if it's a tattoo, I don't know if it's a scar. But there's a handprint on my heart. Hands like my father, and a heart of blood and grease. And I feel crazy every time he looks at me. Holds you like a woman, and they say they love you like their own. They say be grateful, they say at least you're not alone. And I don't know if when they laid me down, they meant to tear me apart. And I don't know if I am broken, or maybe I was broken at the start. I don't know if it's a tattoo, I don't know if it's a scar. But there's a handprint on my, yeah, there's a handprint on my heart. Yeah, there's a handprint on my heart. Yeah, there's a handprint on my heart. Thank you for letting me crash your party. Nice to be in Bellingham.
It's me again. I got asked to close out, which I'm really honored to do. Can I get the members of Middle Women to stand up again? Like anybody who helped out in any way for this event? Can we just give them all like a huge round of applause because they're awesome? You guys are great clappers. This is a piece that I have been trying to write for years now. It's really hard, but I thought it kind of fit perfectly with like the closing of this because like Rebecca started with like a laptop and a camera and like just posting pictures of just like being you in all manners of being dressed and like just being so simply you. And so little backstory. When I was in high school, I ran cross country, I did weight training, and that was 5 days a week. I was working out for minimum 2 hours a day and really hard. I weighed 160 pounds at the height that I am right now, and I currently weigh 240. So if you can imagine, about 100 pounds less of this. That's where this was. So you can imagine in those years and those pounds coming on, because this is where my body likes to be, and I like my body kind of sometimes. I try to. There's some stretch marks, and that's always been like a really big thing that I've struggled with. So I wrote this poem about that. It's the first time I've ever talked about this in public, so we're gonna see what happens. I cried when I found the first one. Too embarrassed to rub the pregnancy cream my mother bought me on my sides where my skin seemed stretched thin. I'd gone from running 40 to 50 miles a week and extremely slim to being tired of living my life competitively. So there they stayed. My esteem swayed, these dark scars on my side that I still sometimes look at teary-eyed. It's been years since the first ones, and I've added many more stripes to my body. And here's what they've taught me. They don't mean shit. I'm tired of looking in mirrors and only seeing those goddamn marks, those goddamn brown, dark marks, arbitrary indications of the ways that my body has grown. And honestly, who gives a shit? I wish my body gave me indications of how I've grown as a person. Give me stretch marks for all the times I've trained my tongue in forgetting hateful language. Give me a scar for every word ejected from this vocabulary. I promise I will wear them proudly. Give me stretch marks for every time someone said I couldn't and I did. Good or bad, I want to wear my decisions on my sleeve. Give me deep marks for all my family and friends who have passed before me. If you're keeping count, I need 8. 8 tombstone-shaped scars on my heart. Give me more on my heart from being bruised and swollen by a woman who couldn't treat me right. Cover me in stretch marks for every time I ever planned my funeral. Then give me another for every time I ever threw away the blueprints. Scrawl survivor on my face. I want my body to denote every time I've gone through growing pains that meant something. I want scars for every poem I ever wrote. Beautiful brown calligraphy scrawling over my body. That's how we should look at ourselves. I want my mirror to quit telling me that I'm stretched out past my prime worthless, because even though I still sometimes believe that, I know that it simply isn't true. I want to tell my mirror definitively to fuck off, because I refuse to stop growing in ways that mean something.
Come up here and say thank you. Yeah. Okay, just one last big round of applause for all of our wonderful speakers, please.
We appreciate every single one of you for being here tonight. It's really awesome.
Like, a lot. We appreciate it a lot. And I know not everybody who is tabling is still here, but the people who did the resource tables, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Speakers, stand. Well, thank you.
Well, I mean, if you guys want to stay around, you can. There's arts and crafts, and there's food.
And we can, if anyone has questions, we can answer questions. This is in my head, and I don't know how I'm going to eloquently say this. It's not going to be eloquent at all, so sorry. If you came here tonight, thank you, and you should all stand up, because it's kind of what Thomas was talking about earlier. You're here you said, everyone's here for a reason, but you said we're all in the water bottle together. Yep. And every person here is going to take what you heard, and you're going to make a positive impact. No matter how big or so small, it's going to happen. So thank you, everybody.
And if any of you or even have the slightest idea that you might want to get involved in something, please come talk to one of us. I'm very adamant in saying that I started with a camera and a laptop that sometimes still does not have internet, so try and figure that one out. It wouldn't be here if not for all of you, and I mean the people on the stage and everything, because I started with talking about specifically body image and disordered eating. And if you've ever been to the website, we did a lot of work and resources. There's a lot of topics we can talk about, and if any of you have any ideas on where we can keep going, who we should be talking to, what content you would like us to produce, we will, with your help. So thank you. Let's keep going.
Thank you.
They can deal with it.
And may sunshine and happiness I'll be kind if you'll be faithful, you be sweet and I'll be grateful. Cover me with kisses, dear, lighten up the atmosphere. Keep me warm inside our bed, I got dreams of you all through my head. Fortune tell us that I'd be free, and that's the day you came to me.